My name is Srinivas. So I'm going to handle the absence management and payroll. So I'm sure you must have finished your global HR training, right?
Yes, we.
Okay, that's great. Okay, fine. We'll start with absence. So first I'm going to show you the topics that we are going to cover in absence management.
Sir, can we start payroll?
Why is it? Because that is the flow that generally I follow. Okay.
That payroll is.
We'll cover payroll after absence.
How many days will it take to cover absence management, sir?
Sorry?
How many days it will take to cover absence management?
I'm expecting 3 to 4 days. Maybe
Sure.
5 days.
Okay.
Max.
Sure.
Yeah, altogether, I'm expecting to finish by 10 working days the absence and payroll. Maybe more, little bit more, but not less, not more than 12 days. Because I'm taking at least 1.5 hours per day. So
Okay.
yeah, it will take 5 to 6 working days. Maybe 7 to 10 hours. It will come. Okay, so yeah. Before starting the session, do you have any questions? Anyone has any questions? Great. Okay. The absence management, these are the topics that we are going to cover in the absence management. See, derived factors, eligibility profiles, repeating periods, the total shift concepts, work schedules, then the core absence configurations. So these 3 configurations are common configurations. They just not just belong to absence management, they also belongs to other modules as well. So once you learn here, so you don't have to learn from other modules. So the same thing applicable for other modules also. Then these work shifts, patterns, work schedule, these configurations are again a shared configurations between absence management and time and labor. So even a person who is learning time and labor module, they will learn these concepts in the time and labor module as well. So, but for absence management also we will learn here. And these are the actual core absence management configurations, reasons, categories, plans, types. And these are the pillars for entire absence management. These 2, absence plans, absence types. These are the pillars for absence management. Then we are going to cover some calendar events and all. Then finally, we are going to see the absence processes. So this is the sequence that we go, and these are the topics that we are going to cover under absence management. Okay. So yeah, I have a file like this. So all the configuration items that are there here. But anyway, I just listed out here, so maybe this will be enough for you to share. Let's log in and then I will show you in the system the configurations. Okay. So you know the roles that are required for global HR, right? I think you have gone through the roles concept.
Yeah, we know few roles, Srinivas.
Which are related to global HR, like
Yes.
human resource specialist, human resource manager, human
Yes.
resource administrator. So these roles are sufficient for absence management. We don't have any separate roles for absence management. The same rules are applicable for absence management also. Okay, so this is the home page. Probably you must know about the home page and all. Now the navigations, you know where to go, right? the configurations where you configure. So global HR, you go to setup and maintenance. Go to setup and maintenance, and from there you have to go to corresponding offering. So we have 3 offerings in HR, entire HR. So one is, what are these 3 offerings? Anyone remember offerings? No? Yes? I hope you finished global HR. So,
Workforce.
yeah, go ahead. So, a lot of noise is coming from someone who is trying to speak. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to tell you. One is a workforce deployment, workforce development, and compensation management. So, absence management is part of your workforce deployment. So, under workforce deployment, you have absences. Okay, so you can search. You know how to search task, right? You can search from here if you know the task name, or you can go to global search. This is called global search. You can search the task from here also. You can search from here also. Either way, you can search. For absence, for example, I wanted to know about derived factors or absence. Absence. So the task name is manage absence. Not absence. Oh, this is under compensation management. Okay, then you can search absence reasons, absence plans. You see everything is here. Absence types, absence categories. These are the things that I'm talking about. Absence configurations. So you see here under workforce deployment, the functional area is absence management. Under absence management, you have all the tasks like eligibility profiles, derived factors, repeating time periods, absence reasons, plans, types. This is one way to navigate your absence management configurations. The other way, generally in our implementations, we follow the other way. We go to my client groups. I mean, that way also you can do configurations, or this way also you can do configurations. Here you can go to my client groups. Under my client groups, you have a task called absence. So just go to absence. Then you will see only the absence related configurations. There you go. See, eligibility related configurations, time periods, then absence specific configurations. Then there are certain processes. End of the session, we are going to learn this one, absence processes. This is about person management, where you go to employee and apply leave, all those stuff. Now, other than this, you see, you are unable to see these tasks because, as I said, these tasks are shared tasks in between your absence management and your time and labor. So to configure these things, we will not come here. We go to setup and maintenance, and then from there we configure. Okay, so to start with, what is access management? Access management is handling your leaves, your leave balance, your managing leave balance, applying leave, how many leaves that are available, or how many leaves you accrued till now, and then how much balance you are going to have, how many leaves carried over. So all those stuffs are going to be handled in your absence management. And you see, I don't know if you are working in an organization, probably you will see a lot of different leaves. like annual leave, sick leave, casual leave, maternity leave, paternity leave, special leave, like that. So every leave, each and every leave has its own calculations, its own rules, its own conditions. So all those things we are configuring here. For example, if you see maternity leave, can male employees apply maternity leave? No. Maternity leave is for female employees. So why should organization show the maternity leave to all the male employees if they are not eligible? So you are restricting your maternity leave to male employees. Similarly, vice versa. Paternity leave is applicable to only male employees, not female employees. So how are you going to restrict it? I'm talking about in your real-time end user point of view. Or maybe you have annual leave in your organization. So when you are applying annual leave, so every month you are getting 1 day, or depending on your organization to organization, maybe I am getting 1.5 days every month annual leave. Maybe you are getting 2 days every month annual leave. And then both of our organizations are using the same application. Let us assume that. Okay, so now how, if they are using the same application, same leave, then how you are accruing 1.5 and I'm accruing 2 days? Same leave I'm talking. Then you have to maintain your balances before you are applying leave as a user. I'm talking about as an end user perspective. So as a user, as an employee, I'm applying leave. I have to see my balance first. Okay, I have this much balance so that I can take these many leaves in this month. So all these things are going to be configured in the absence management. That's what we do as a consultant. Okay. So let's start with the eligibility. That is the first configurations for absence. So there are two things here: eligibility profiles, derived factors. So let me just open the eligibility profiles and then we will talk about derived factors. So what is eligibility profile? Why we create eligibility profile? So eligibility profile is used to select the population who are eligible for that particular absence type. So get used to these terminologies. When I use absence type, which means actually the leave. You know, the front end, all of you must be working in some organization one way or other. So you also probably have a, sorry? Someone is saying something? Hello? Okay, anyway, yeah. If you are applying, you people all may be working in an organization or not, you are going to apply leave, right? Maybe you apply annual leave or vacation leave or sick leave. So these things are called absence type in Fusion terminology. So whenever I say absence type, that is actually your leave. Whether it is a casual leave or sick leave, it doesn't matter. Okay, just get used to these terminologies. Absence type means your leave: sick leave, casual leave, annual leave, maternity leave, paternity leave, etc. Okay, now eligibility profile. So why we create eligibility profile? To restrict the population. Example, we go by example. Every time, whatever configurations we do in this next 10 days, we always talk about examples so that you probably will understand. You can correlate the actual configuration to your example. Okay. Now, what is eligibility profile? Restricting population. How? For example, there are again the same example I can take: maternity, paternity. In an organization there are 100 people working. Out of that, 60 people are female employees, 40 people are male employees, for example. So they have maternity leave, they have paternity leave, organization. Now, the maternity leave should be available only to female employees and paternity leave should be available only male employees. How are you going to restrict? So you are going to restrict that using eligibility profile. You are going to create an eligibility profile, 2 different eligibility profiles, and you are going to associate to your absence. Similarly, maybe I have annual leave, and annual leave is applicable to all people except contract employees. I'm just giving example. Annual leave is applicable to all the people in the organization except contract employees. Then how are you going to restrict? Contract employees should not able to see this leave in their absence page. So you are restricting. Or there will be a specific leave, maybe I don't know, some X leave, which is applicable to only people who got married. Unmarried people are not eligible for that particular leave. Then how are you going to restrict it? Again, the conditions, the criteria is different from one requirement to another requirement. So we have a lot of selection criteria. You can restrict by your gender, your marital status, your person type, your job, grade, location, department, business unit, employment category. So there are a lot of selection criteria available under this eligibility profile. So it's up to you. How are you going to create? Up to not you, up to a client requirement. Let's create one eligibility profile. When you are configuring your global HR, do you have any company you created? Any legal entity?
Ravi used to pick Shivani legal entity.
Yes, legal entity.
Shivani.
Yes.
Shivani legal entity. What is that? Let me check whether that is here or not. Anyway, I'll pick something else, okay? No problem. Because this environment is little different, I think. Okay, so I'm going to pick, let's say, anyway, we have to do payroll also. So for that, I need a legal entity and all. We will take, now let's say, is that other company that I'm working? Yeah, I work at Technologies. Fine. So let's say I work at Technologies. I work at Technologies Inc., which is a US company. So we will take that company as a legal entity for all our configurations. So I'm saying IOK. I'm prefixing with the company so that you know that this belongs to that company. Generally, we in our implementations we will have one company and then we will create whatever eligibility profiles which are used in that legal entity. So because this is a test environment, people used to create a lot of profiles, lot of companies. So it is difficult for us to let's say okay. It is difficult for us to remember which eligibility profile is ours. So I'm just prefixing all our configurations. I am prefixing with AOK so that is our eligibility profile. Okay, sorry, our configurations. So AOK, absence, eligibility profile. Generally, the eligibility profile name, we will keep it the leave name. Okay, because in your real-time implementation, the client may have 6 different leaves like maternity, paternity, casual, annual, and other things. So out of those, maybe a couple of absence types are having same eligibility profile. Yes, there is a possibility that that particular 2 leaves are applicable to all the employees. So why should I create 2 different eligibility profiles? Instead of that, I will create one eligibility profile which select all the employees in the organization. Then I'm going to attach that eligibility profile to these 2 leaves. That is also possible. So generally what we do, we create eligibility profile name as the absence type name so that it will be easy to see, okay, this leave, this eligibility profile belongs to that leave, this eligibility profile belongs to this leave. So it is easy for us to remember the eligibility profiles mapping. So that is a common practice in implementation. the eligibility profile name consists of the absence type name. But for us, for now, I'm just creating like this AOK absence eligibility, or I will say ASA annual leave. I'm just giving annual leave eligibility. Annual leave eligibility. Okay, that is the name that I have given. So the same name you can give in the description is not mandatory. It is just a kind of a description against this absence type. It's up to you whether you wanted to maintain the description or not. Then profile usage. See, I said, right, this eligibility is not just belongs to absence management, but other modules also. So this eligibility profile you are creating is for which purpose? Are you creating this eligibility profile for benefits module, compensation module, goals and performance module, checklist module, or global module? Global is nothing but our global HR or absence management. So if you are creating eligibility profile for absence management, that must be created under global. If you create under benefits, what will happen? This eligibility profile will be shown in the benefits module only. You will not be able to see this eligibility profile in the absence management. When you are configuring absence plan or absence type, you will not be able to attach this eligibility profile to that absence type because it will not be shown. So remember, for absence management, eligibility profile must be created under a profile usage called global. Okay. Assignment to use. So here lot of options available. So the common option mostly 99% we select any assignment enterprise. Again, you see this is related to benefits. So you can skip wherever you say benefit and all. And if you look at the names, any assignment enterprise, meaning if this eligibility profile triggers, then what assignments are going to be considered to select the criteria or to pick that people or population into that eligibility profile. So I say any assignment enterprise, meaning this eligibility profile looks at the entire enterprise, any assignment, and see whether that particular person falls in this criteria or not. If I say legal employer, whatever legal entity, whatever this eligibility profile attached to the corresponding plan and the plan is defined under legal entity, it will look at only the people who are working in that company, all the assignments in that company only. It will not look at other. And then you have other options as well. Employee assignment only, legal employer, primary assignments only. Primary assignments only meaning it is again depending on the client requirement. Maybe you probably learned in global HR. Employee can have multiple assignments, primary assignment and secondary assignments. So this eligibility profile should look at only primary assignments and pick that population. If that is a requirement, we will say primary assignment only. But normal implementations, we follow any assignment enterprise. Status should be always active. So if you say closed or inactive or pending, if I create under status pending, you will not be able to use this eligibility profile in your app.
Yes, Srinivas, I have one question.
Yes.
If we want to show this plan for only regular employees, then which one we need to select in assignment to use?
No, here this is fine. Any assignment only. Here we follow that regular employees, you are going to select the criteria here.
Okay. If we select this any assignment, it will show for all employees, right?
No. Any assignment means it will take any assignment in the enterprise to find the criteria.
Okay.
Again, the people should fall in this criteria, then only they will be picked. In order to select the criteria, which population it is using. Okay, it is using all the people in the entire enterprise and see whether anyone falls in this criteria. That is the reason we always select here any assignment enterprise. Okay.
Okay.
Now status should be active, so closed or inactive or pending won't work. I mean, will work. Pending means eligibility profile has been created in the system, but you will not be able to use in your absence type or absence plan. So it has to be active. This is only the basic definition, not the criteria that we are going to select. The criteria is here. Now, what is your requirement? This particular eligibility, suppose this eligibility profile belongs to annual leave. Okay. So now annual leave requirement is what? What is the eligibility condition for annual leave? So that condition you are going to choose here. Maybe by gender you want, you can keep gender plus you can select here, maybe sequence just 1 or 10 you can give female or male like that. Now when I save and close, and then I attach this eligibility profile to my annual leave, that annual leave will be applicable to only female people. Only female. Male employees will not be able to see this annual leave. Similarly, if you not gender, maybe I wanted to go by marital status. You have marital status here. You can select marital status here. Married or whatever. So you have other conditions also, religion. Not only personal details, you see regular employees, you talked about person type, right? A permanent employee, regular employee, fixed term employee and all. So if you are maintaining that information in your person types, yes, you have option to choose your person types. You can select this. Whatever person type you want, you can select that those person types and then save and close. Okay. Then you have
Means, yeah, Srinivas. Just one down. A person type, regular and contract, we can differentiate that.
yes, right. I think you probably might see in your global HR person types.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you can create as number of as person types against employees system person type. So yes, you can restrict here. You can when you are creating those person types, obviously they will be shown here on the personal and person type. You can select the whatever person type that is requirement.
Okay.
Similarly, we have employment section. Under employment, you have a lot of other assignment category, assignment status, grade, job, position, payroll, department, legal entity. You have business unit, job function. All these things are there. Again, you can select based on the requirement. Suppose I want based on legal entity. People who are working in this company, they are all eligible.
So, Srinivas, can we add extra criteria if we want?
Like?
No, anything according to client requirement. Let's say.
But that's what is the requirement? Tell me. Any means what? Other than this. What is the other than this?
No idea. I'm just asking if
I'm coming
that
to
is
that. My next concept is that only. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
So I think I have one company created here. What is the company?
We used Menta while creating HR.
Sorry?
That Menta. We used that Menta. Ravi used to use that.
I wanted to have an employee in that. I don't know who is working in that company, right?
Okay. I don't think.
I'm using this one, Monarch US INC. Anyway, this is also company. So I'm using this company. So here I select this criteria. And then again, you see, if I save and close, what will happen? This eligibility profile, select all the employees who are working in this company. Okay, so that this eligibility profile links to the annual leave or whatever leave, that leave will be applicable to all the people as a part of this eligibility criteria. Now you have just selected one criteria, like, people who are working in this company. What if you have combinations? Combination means people who are working in this company and people who are female employees and people who got married. This leave is eligible for all the people who are working in this company whose gender is female, whose marital status is married. This is the requirement. Still, you can do the combinations here. Now, what is the requirement? People who are working in this company. Yes, people who are working in this company. Then people gender should be female. Then you come to gender. You add that condition here. And their marital status should be married. Marital status should be married. This is the condition. Now, if you see the view hierarchy button, it will show you what is the criteria that have been selected here. You don't have to go everywhere. You see here directly it will show. Okay, first condition is person, marital status is married. Under person, marital status is married and gender is female. And employment, company, he is working in this, he or she is working in this company. This is the criteria that I have selected. Remember one thing, across the tabs, you have multiple conditions. That condition is always and condition. Within the tab, same employment tab, again, a legal entity. Under legal entity, I create one more company. This will be or condition. Across the tabs, and condition. Within the tab, or condition. Okay. Now it's up to you. How do you want? How you can create whatever, you can go to your combinations, single combination, multiple combinations you can create, and then you can say save and close.
Srinivas, what if we need or condition across the tabs?
Give me a requirement. Or condition means what?
Like employee from Monarch US or okay. So employee who is unmarried and female.
See, there is no such condition like people who is working in this legal entity or marital status is married, right? In that company, who are married or not married. If I'm not wrong, that is how the requirements will be. Because it will conflict your statement, right? People who are working in this Monarch or people who got married, for example. So how the system looks at? You are saying that people who are working in Monarch. So it will pick all the people who is working in Monarch. Or you said people are working, people who are not married. So it will look into the system. It will not look into the Monarch now. It will look into the system and say people who are not married, it will pick all the people who are not married. Because you used our condition. Correct?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So you have to have the proper combination. That's how the requirements will be. Now, okay, this is fine. This is what I have selected. Now I will give a requirement. Say, these are all pretty much straightforward. People who are working in this job, grade, department, you can just straight away say, go to the position or job. You can select all the jobs or, it's straightforward. But there will be certain requirements which are not so straightforward. For example, a person, the requirement is like this. There is annually eligibility is, yes, people who are working in this company and people who have finished their 1 year of service, they are eligible. They are eligible for this leave. They have to finish their 1 year of service. How can you get it? There is no standard thing like high experience and all, right? There is no. Or people who working in this company and whose age is greater than 30 and less than 40. Only those people are eligible for this leave. So there is no standard condition to calculate your age. So that's when you have something called derived factors. So we have to go to derived factors. We have to derive a factor based on age or based on length of service. First, we have to create a derived factor, whatever corresponding derived factor, come back here and then select the derived factor wherever it is applicable. Let's say what is my requirement? My requirement is people who are working, okay, apart from this, people who got married, who is female and who is working in that company, and they have to finish their 1 year of service to eligible for this leave. If that is a requirement, yes, save and close. You come out from the eligibility profile. You go to here, derived factors. Go to derived factors. So now your derived factor is based on what? Age, length of service, or combination. Usually the common compensation is like a compensation management. So usually our requirements falls in these two conditions. Either the requirement will be based on age or the requirement will be based on length of service. Sometimes combinations, yes, you have to create two different derived factors with age and with length of service. Let us create first one. I'm going to, let us say the condition is who have finished their 1 year of service. Then go to length of service, create new. I'll say okay, length of service greater than 1 year. I'll give a name which tells you about the derived factor definition. By looking at the derived factor, you know that
Hello?
Yeah, we can't hear him.
No.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, Srinivas.
Yeah,
we
sorry, I
can hear
lost
you.
internet power. I lost power, so just got it back. You can hear me, right? Anyway, let me share my screen. Okay, so where were we? We are talking. You can hear me, right? All of you.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, fine. Right. So we are talking about length of service. So let us create new. Okay, so the length of service, I am saying, okay, length of service greater than 1 year. So by looking at the name, you can tell that, okay, this length, this particular derived factor is used to find the length of service which is greater than 1 year. Now, unit of measure is years, because what is our condition? Our condition is people who have finished their 1 year of service. So it is years. Depending on the requirement. Suppose your requirement is people who have finished their 6 months, for example, then you have to select the unit of measure as months. Then here you can give the values greater than or equal to. Our requirement is 1 year. If you have a condition called people who have finished their length of service greater than 1 year and less than 3 years, something like that, then you can give the length of service less than maybe 4 years or 7 years, depending on that. But our condition is only people who finish their 1 year service, so this is enough. So this 1 year calculation, how are you going to calculate the 1 year? From what date 1 year has to finish? When I say people should finish their 1 year of service, so what is the base date to find the 1 year? Obviously,
Hiring date.
by hire date. Period start date is hire date. From hire date, he has to finish 1 year. You have other dates also, adjusted service date. In HR, probably global HR, you might see that adjusted service date, which is used to adjust the hire date. Maybe for data loading purpose, data conversion point of view, all hire dates have been given as 1 January 2021, but their actual hire dates will be different, which are going to be handled in adjusted service date. That is possible. That is also way of doing in the implementation. So in that case, we don't go with the date of hire, we go with the adjusted service date. So again, if you wanted to go with fast formula, you can go fast formula and all. But our requirement is date of hire. Then determination rule, as of event. As of event, by default, we will select as of event, because when should system calculate that 1 year? Suppose I am applying leave today. System has to find as of today whether I have finished the 1 year or not. Then only it will show the leave today. Sometimes there will be certain requirements like doesn't matter a person is finished their 1 year service by end of this month. Still, yes, it is fine for me to show this leave in this current month itself. Meaning, I'm going to finish my 1 year service by end of this month, 30 before 31st March. I'm any day, maybe 20 or 25 or 20, doesn't matter. By end of this month, I am going to finish my 1 year service. So if that is the case, I am eligible for this leave in this month. If that is a requirement, you say end of month or end of previous month. People who have finished their 1 year service last month end date, they are eligible from current month onwards. It is a requirement, end of previous month. As of event date is always, it looks at whenever I am trying to apply leave, as of that date, it will check whether he is eligible or not. Then let's say save and close.
Srinivas went down. So the set of determination rules that we saw in the drop down as of event date, end of month only. So these are seeded values or can be extendable.
These are seed values.
Okay, it's not extendable.
No, nothing is extendable here in this.
Okay.
If you have any specific requirements which are not fulfilling this, you just don't enter anything here. You have to write a formula. Completely you handle in the formula. Okay.
Okay.
So now we created a derived factor with length of service greater than 1 year. Now we go back to our eligibility profile. Now here we can attach that eligibility profile. Go to derived factors, length of service, add. This one. So now if you go to view hierarchy, it will show you that as well. You see here. Like that. Person who is working in this company and person who got married and who are female and whose length of service is this one, whatever this condition here. So they will be part of your eligibility criteria. Okay. Now I don't want to select any of this option like personal, employment. I don't want. Everything I will maintain in fast formula and then I will create a formula for eligibility profile. If that is the case, it is depending on the consultant, how they are going. You see, mostly if you have a standard way of selection, we always prefer standard way of selection. We never used formulas unless and until it is necessary. Because why? Maybe today this is the requirement. Tomorrow, the requirement I'm talking about end user point of view. They may have different eligibility criteria for that leave. Maybe tomorrow they may think that, no, we don't want married people. If only female employees, that is sufficient. I don't want married people. So you can come here, you can remove this condition. If you write a formula, what will happen? They don't know fast formulas and all, right? So that condition has to be changed in fast formula. So you go to formula and then you remove the condition married, marital status condition, you remove it. But anyway, if you are maintaining everything in formula, you don't have to select everything. You have to create a formula called participation. The formula type is participation and rate eligibility. That formula you are going to create and that formula is going to be appeared here. You are going to select the formula here. You see, whenever you are creating formulas, it is important to know the formula types. Here, whatever formulas created in the formula section, you are not going to see all those formulas. When you are creating a formula, there is a field called formula type, which is a differentiate your formulas. So in order to create eligibility formulas, that formula should be under participation and rate eligibility, anyway, which I am going to take maybe a little one class kind of thing in the formulas. We will talk in that. Okay. So this is what eligibility criteria. I will say save and close. You don't have to open this one to see the conditions. You can directly select hierarchy here. It will show you what are the conditions that are, what is the selection criteria you have selected under this eligibility profile. So company, length of service, marital status, female, things like that. Any questions in derived factors and eligibility profiles? Anyone? Everyone is okay, right?
Hi, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we selected the legal employer, the Monarch in So there are we can go for particular department or particular BU, or all these options are here available here.
Yes. What is your question? Yes, they are available. Particular department, particular business.
When we are creating a profile, so we give a legal employer, so we can give specific BU or specific department also.
We can, because you see, other than the, you can go to end conditions, right? So you selected your employment as, your legal entity as this company. You can select department also. In this company, what is the department? Again, you can go to business unit here. You select the business unit also, so that it will always end condition. People who are working in that company and in that company, in that business unit, in that department.
Okay. And one more question, that when you selected that legal employer, there was that checkbox exclude.
Yes.
What does that mean?
That checkbox is used to exclude. For example, let's say my requirement is not my requirement is based on job. For example, my eligibility criteria is depending on job. Let's assume that. So I have let's say 500 jobs in the organization. Now my requirement is this particular annual leave is applicable to all the people except CEO, CFO or director, let's say. So it is applicable to all the people who are working in all the jobs except CEO, CFO and director. And how are you going to create that? So you have to select eligibility, all the jobs here, job 1, job 2, job 3, job 4, whatever jobs that you have. Correct? 1 job, 2nd job, 3rd job, 4th job, like that. There will be, let's say 500 jobs. So are you going to create all these jobs manually? Yes, that is one way to do it. Second way is, what is our condition? It is applicable to all the jobs except CEO, CFO and director. So what I will do, instead of selecting all the jobs, I will select CEO, I will say exclude. I will say CFO, exclude. Director, exclude. Bus. So it is excluding these jobs and including all other jobs. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
So this is about your eligibility profiles. Then we have something called time periods, repeating time periods. There are some standard delivered repeating time periods available. Delivered, these are the delivered, not all people have entered a description further. The delivered repeating time periods are daily, which is delivered, monthly accrual processing period, payroll, projects, semi-monthly, weekly, starting Sunday. These are the delivered, except this one. These are the delivered repeating time periods. So first of all, what is repeating time period? So the name suggests time periods which are repeating. Fine, repeating. What is this time period? How time period is related to your absence? So when you are talking about accruals, especially accruals, see, annual leave, you are going to get 24 days per annum, correct? Let's say, usually that is how your requirement will be. Every year, you are eligible for 24 days. But that doesn't mean that you are going to get all those 24 leaves in the January itself. every month you are getting 2 days, 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. January 2 days, February 2 days, March 2 days. You are accruing those leaves 2 days every month so that you are going to get 24 days per annum. So in this scenario, you are accruing what? 2 days, 2 days, monthly, right? Monthly you are accruing. So in such requirements, you are going to use monthly accrual processing period. Every month you are accruing. Some requirement says every year 12 days straight away. Not monthly. Every year I am getting 12 days. I'm not getting every monthly. Per annum straight away I am getting 12 days. January, right from January 1st I will get it. In that case, it is yearly. It is yearly. Every year I am going to get, actually someone has prefixed with this, so it will be like that. Yearly. So every year I am going to get, repeating, every year 12 days, 12 days, 12 days, yearly 12 days I am going. So here in this scenario, the repeating is yearly. So you have to create a corresponding yearly repeating time period. Because it is already delivered, you don't have to create. But now, I have already monthly, daily, yearly, semi-monthly, payroll-wise, everything I have, whatever is necessary. Then why I have a requirement to add new one? Why can't I use standard ones? Why can't I use standard ones?
If you need
Because-
something like quarterly,
Yeah, quarterly is one thing. But if it is a monthly, quarterly, how many requirements you get quarterly you accrue leaves? Have you ever seen that you are going to get leaves quarterly? I mean, yes, that is one thing, I agree, but usually the requirement point of view, how many times we see a leaves will be accrued quarterly? For my experience, I said none. I never seen requirement with the quarterly. But yeah, basically, if I say yearly, suppose if I use the standard one, now what does yearly means? So yearly means yearly, every year. What is the every year? What is the start date and end date for that year? So mostly absence management requirements, any client, any organization, any country, they follow January to December as a year. Correct? Usually, I mean, that is a common thing. So when I say 12 days per annum yearly, it is 12 days from January to 31st December for that year. Again, next year, January to December. Every year, January to December, 12 days, 12 days, 12 days I am getting. If I am using the standard yearly one. What if my requirement is different? Yes, there are certain clients where they go yearly, but the yearly is not Jan to December. The yearly is from July to June or October to September. I have seen requirement recently which is start with May to April. In that case, you can't use this delivered one. What you use? We have to create a separate repeating time period. See here, when you go to this yearly standard one, you see the sample start date is what? One 2020. So year doesn't matter here. You don't have to worry about year. You can keep it 19 or 18 or 17, doesn't matter. There is no impact. But that important thing is this is. Meaning this, but if I am using this yearly, it will take year means January 1st to 31st December. So that's how that's why you are going to create another repeating time period for yearly if it is a April to March. So you say you can keep it like okay, yearly start with May, for example. You can give the name so that Now, as I said, this repeating time period is again across the modules. You are going to use this time and labor, overtime and all. So for absence management, we have to enable accrual processing. Period type must be monthly, but your period length is year. Now here you are going to give, maybe I'll go with 2020, May 1st. See here, year doesn't matter. It always looks at your day and month. You wanted to know the, you can just select some sample dates and you see how the periods are falling. You can check it. So I'm just selecting start date and date as January 1st, 2022 year. You see only 2 years are there. One from 1st May to 2022, 30th April 2021, 1st May 2021 to 30th April 2022. Only 2 periods are there in this duration. It is only to see whether our configuration is correct or not. This is not impact. There is no impact on these fields. This is only to see whether my configuration is correct or not. Yes, my configuration is correct. You see, when you look at only these 2 periods, only you say I'm talking about 3 years. 2020 from January 1st to 31st December 2022. It's 3 years, 20, 21, 22. But in this duration, I have only 2 periods which start with May 1st to April 30th, 2021 and then 2022. Yes, my configuration is correct. Same thing, I wanted to see monthly. So here you say calendar month. Then you see time periods. You see here. It's a monthly, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, like that. Again, yearly means this one. So depending on your requirement, you create the corresponding repeating time periods. You create a corresponding repeating time periods and say, you'll say save and close. Okay. So mostly the common requirement we get is monthly, this one, monthly accrual processing period. Start with January. So if your period is different, yes, you can change it to some May or June, depending on your requirement. Okay. Any questions in the repeating time period?
What's the difference between period type and period length?
Okay. Period type is monthly. I mean, monthly is period type. Length is like this monthly, how long you are going to get. Monthly, fine. But every month or in a year, monthly. See, it always, your absence management is always monthly one. I mean, it's up to requirement again. Sometimes it may go with the payroll period. Payroll period is what? You have bi-weekly payroll, you are accruing bi-weekly. Your weekly payroll, you accrue weekly. So if that is a requirement, there is an entirely different concept. But if your accrual is based on monthly and all, you are going to choose. Suppose, let me just go to daily one. See yearly. Period type daily. Length is 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or what? Total 1 month daily or it will take daily every 1 day. Not twice or thrice or 4 times. Daily only one, it will say 1 day. It will not say 2 different periods in daily. Yes, daily means 1 day, but still you may have half period and half period length. I'm talking about length. Or 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, 3 times. So we will not do that. We will always go with 1 day for daily. This is not related to see here. It's not accrual processing anyway. So depending on the requirement, we will select this one. Okay.
No, like
So
selected, when we created the type, you selected the type as monthly and period as year.
Yearly, you are going to calculate 24 days, but it will look at month. The process is monthly, but you are going to get those 24 days the whole year.
Okay, every month the accrual will happen, but the total will get for yearly period.
Yes, straight away on day one we will get it.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's about your repeating time periods and eligibility section. Okay. So now we will talk about work shifts, patterns, schedule, and the geographic things. Okay. So work shifts and all, they are not available here in the absence management. You have to go to setup and maintenance, and then from there you have to configure. Okay, so you go to setup and maintenance. Then you can go to your workforce deployment. You can search for your task here. If you are unable to see the tasks here, yeah, work shifts, work patterns, work schedule, assignment, administration. So, one second. So let's start with shifts. Okay. So now, what is shift here? So why we are using the shifts and all in this absence management? Because you see, when you are applying leave, for example, okay. So let's say today is what? Thursday, correct? So I am applying from today till Monday. How many days I have applied leave? Anyone? I applied from today to Monday. How many days I have taken leave?
3 working days, right?
3 working days.
Yeah.
So how do you know 3 working days?
Weekends, we have to exclude the weekends.
So Saturday, Sunday, week off. How do you know Saturday, Sunday is week off for me? Yeah, I am working in a manufacturing organization, or I am working in any other organizations where you work in different days. So you know that, right? All people may not have the same week offs, Saturday and Sunday. For example, forget about that. You are implementing for Middle East. So what is the week off there? Friday and Thursday. Sorry, Friday and Saturday. Then how does the system know that a week off is a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, or Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday only for me? So that's where you are going to select your work schedule. That concept is called work schedule. Every person will have a work schedule. So they will work, in this week I'm going to work these many days. In next week I'm going to work in those many days, like that. System doesn't know that what is week off. By default, yes, I understand. By default, it will take Saturday, Sunday as a week off. By default. But if your requirement is not like that, obviously requirement will not be like that. People works in different days, shifts. Sometimes what will happen, I will work this week, I will work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning shift. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, Thursday, Friday evening shift. Next week I will work other way. Or every week I will work like this: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning shift, Thursday, Friday evening shift. How are you going to create that? So those things and all are going to be maintained in your work shifts and shift patterns, work schedules, things like that. Okay. So now here we have three different types: a time shift, duration shift, elapsed shift. So all our configurations, all our implementations, we have never used duration shift. Excuse me. A duration shift, because it's only to find the duration and all. We always go with the time shift or elapsed shift. What is the difference between time shift and elapsed shift? Time shift will tell you the exact time and start time and end time which you work. You know, in especially the manufacturing or pharma and all, you will have the time shifts. Your working hours are morning 7 to afternoon 12, or not 12, afternoon 2. 9 to 2, not 6 to 2, for example, 8 hours duty, 6 to 2. Maybe I am working in 10 to 5 shift, 10 to 6 shift. You are working 2 to 10 shift, afternoon 2 to night 10 shift. So in this scenario, you have to specify what is the shift start time, what is the shift end time. And the person should know what are the shifts for me for current week, and if I say morning shift, what would be my shift start time and end time? I will work in that duration only. That is one way. If you look at the IT industry, usually where we are working, we will not have a proper start time and end time, right? We work 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours. Nowadays we are all working 10 hours per day. So it will not tell what is my start time, what is my end time. For depending on client to client, we will adjust our times and we will work accordingly. There is no standard start time and end time for each and every individual. So it's only a duration we are working in a day. That's it. It will not tell what is my start time, what is my end time. So that kind of shifts are called elapsed shift. Time shift tells you about exact times that what time we are working to what time you are working. Elapsed shift is, yes, I am working 9 hours or 10 hours, but I will not start with morning 6 to afternoon 2 or not something. It depending on my client, and sometimes maybe I might be working in different multiple projects. Maybe 3 days in one project, 2 days in another project. Usually that happens in IT industry, service industry. So depending on the requirement, you create a time shift or elapsed shift. Elapsed shift is easy, only just duration. Let us talk about time shift, which is little bit complex, so better you understand. So I'm creating time shift here. I'll say, okay, you can define shifts like the name. When you look at name, that should know. Sorry. So I will say 9 a.m. to not 9 a.m. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Shift. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift. This is one shift. So I'll say morning shift. I'm just saying like that, morning shift or regular shift, whatever shift. Start time is 8. Duration is 8 hours. So then it will automatically take 4 p.m. is my end time. We are going to see that. Okay. Category, what are you working from home or what? It is not mandatory. You can select a shift detail. Is it a flexible times or punch? Are you using punch in, punch out, or you are using the flexible or none? So if you are using flexible, you have to say what is the start time, and you come 8 hours I am working flexible. Maybe morning 8 o'clock, start with 8 o'clock. I will work until 9 or 8 to 10. Again, maybe 1 hour break. I will go out, and at 11 o'clock I will come, and again I will work another 3 hours. So it will calculate the actual number of hours that you work. So you have to choose here start time 2 hours I am working, again 2 hours I am working, something like that. Punch in, punch out is like you are punching. That has to be having a punch.
Just one question.
Sorry.
If we want to add any break, then how to add?
Any?
Break period.
Yeah, that's what breaks. You're going to, you see, core work is like, you can give here, you see, core working hours, or maybe I'm going for a meal, shift start time, shift end time, or shift start meal time. You can start time, you can enter the duration here, and you will say it is not core work. It's not a core work. I am going for meal. So that duration will be excluded from your shift. If it is a core working hours, yes, it is a core working hours. So depends your requirement, you will create this one. If it is a none, means there is nothing shift details. It's standard 8 to 4. That's what I'm working. Save and close. See, 4 o'clock comes automatically because it's 8 hours. Morning 8 to evening 4. This is one shift. Let us create one more shift. I'll say okay, 2 p.m. to 8 means what? 10 p.m. shift. I'll say afternoon shift. So this is also start with what? 14. Because it's only 24-hour format. 8 hours. Yeah, 2 to 10. This is another shift. Okay, 2 shifts we have created. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift, 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift. This is called shifts. We have just created individual shifts. In your requirement, whatever number of shifts you have in your organization, you have to create all those shifts here. Remember, you have to create all those shifts here. 1 second. Okay. So now, okay, fine. I have shifts like morning shift, evening shift, and all. Then what is the pattern here? Pattern is nothing but which pattern are you working? Which pattern are you working? Like I said, okay, out of every week, I am working morning, or maybe this will be like this. 1 week I will work morning shift like 8 to 2. Another week I will work 2 to 10. Again morning 8 to 4. Again 2. Like that I am repeating myself. That is one way. You are working like that. Your pattern is 1 week morning shift, another week afternoon shift, another again morning shift, afternoon shift. So every week you are working like that. That is your pattern. I am not working like that. I am working like every day, every week I am working morning shift. That is my pattern. Maybe another employee every week, every day, every week he is working afternoon shift. One more employee, not every week, in a week, first 3 days he is working morning shift, next 2 days he is working afternoon shift. Again next week, first 3 days he is working morning shift, next 2 days he is working afternoon shift. Like that. So how many number of patterns we have like this? You have to create all those patterns individually. Okay. So I mean, what again here, elapsed time and all. So if our shifts are time shifts, they have to be under time. If your shifts are elapsed shift, they have to be under elapsed. Say okay. What can we say here? You can keep it like this. Otherwise, you know that you can say here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I am working morning shift. You can give the name like that so that you know that. Otherwise, I'm just giving like this. Okay. Pattern I'm giving like that. Now the days here. How are you counting the days? I said in a week, first 3 days I am working morning shift, next 2 days I am working afternoon shift. So every week I am working like that. So in that case, my length of days should be 7 days. If your requirement is 14 days, for example, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, your pattern is 2 days, 2 weeks pattern. First week I am working morning shift, next week I am working afternoon shift. First week next week again. If your pattern is like that, then you have to create accordingly. You have to enter 14 days in that case. Now you say here 7 days. Out of 7 days, first day till third day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I am working what? Morning shift. I am working 8 to 4 p.m. shift. Then Thursday, Friday, 4 and 5, I am working 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift. Can anyone have any question here? I said weekly, 7 days. Week means 7 days. So first 3 days I am working morning shift. Next 2 days I am working in the afternoon shift. So I have given like 1, 2, 3. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday I have given 8 to 4, and then Thursday, Friday, which is 4 to 5. 2 to 10 I am working, and then 6, 7 are my week offs, which is Saturday and Sunday. So that is the reason our system automatically consider 6 and 7 are week offs. Now this is how you create your workday pattern. Now you must have a question here. I'm expecting question definitely here.
Sir, we not associated the days to the number, like one is Monday.
Right. How does system know that one is Monday? I said 7 days. Yes, 7 days. You can say 7 days is Sunday to Friday. I can say 7 days is Monday to Sunday. Right? Now in your case, 1 means Sunday. In my case, 1 day is Monday. Now, how does system know that 1, 2, 3 is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4, 5 is Thursday, Friday, and then 6, 7 are week offs, which are Saturday and Sunday? Yes, that question, good question. This one we are going to map in my next configuration. But you have to create like this. If your pattern is 15 days, you have to give 15 days here. You have to give here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, 7 like that. You have to enter. And then you should tell the system what is 1. The remaining things it will calculate automatically. But only thing is what is 1 here. Okay, that is the only thing that you have to create, you have to enter. Then you say save and close. Okay. So here, okay, this is my work pattern. This is my length of days. So 1, 2, 3 is my morning to evening, and then 4, 5 is my afternoon shift, 2 to 10 shift. Okay, so I'll say done. Then you are going to create your work schedule. So here we are going to create work schedule. So I'm giving name here AOK work schedule. Type again, it should be time, because everything we are creating time here. Now this is the place where you choose the one. One should fall on Monday. If you are saying that year doesn't matter, you can go back to whatever year you want. Then check whatever date that falls, 1 is Monday. You see, month also doesn't matter. You see, 1 is Monday. So this work schedule start with that day, 1st June 2020. It start with 1st June 2020, and it will say 1 week every week, 1 second week, 3rd week, 4th week, like that. It will take continuously, it will take weeks up to whatever date you choose here, end date. So I'm saying 1. So I'm going with maybe 2030. I'll say December 31st. Up to this date I am selecting. It will take every week here. First, I'm saying 1. 1 is like first this one. Not only 1, you can say 8th also. This is a 1 day, I mean week. It starts with 8th, but in that it's a 1. 1 belongs to Monday. So the first date that you choose is 1. That one falls in which week? That one you are going to choose for Monday. Now you are going to link your pattern what you have created. This is a work pattern that we have created. Then you are going to give exceptions here. Exception is something that I wanted to exclude my public holidays. Remember, public holidays. Calendar event category. Public holiday. This is a standard one. You can extend this list. People have created a lot of things, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. Public holiday. This is a standard one. Public holiday. So this is an extensible list. You can define off period, exception names, but the standard one is like public holiday. One second. Yeah. Now this is how you create your work schedule. Any questions here? Everyone fine?
If you choose any date, from that day it picks one.
Sorry?
If you choose 8th, 10th, so then it will pick one as a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yes, one as a Wednesday. So it will consider Monday and Tuesday is week offs. They are week offs.
Okay.
So the week start with 10 to 16, 17 to 23, 24 to 30, it goes accordingly. Then every time when I say one I am saying working. So 16, 15, 16 are week off, because remember in works pattern, I have given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shifts. 6, 7, I keep it blank. I didn't give anything for 6 and 7. So by default, 6 and 7 are my week offs. So in this case, if you keep like 10th, then 15, 16 are my week off. So it will go accordingly.
Thank you.
Okay, then you say submit. One second, I'll just hold on. Yeah. Say okay. So this is your work schedule. Now you have to associate this work schedule to the population. So for that, have to go to work schedule assignment administration. One second. If you go to here, manage work schedule exceptions. Not this one, resource exceptions. Now you have here I'm just wondering about exceptions here. Why it is coming to work schedule only? It has to go to the corresponding exceptions, manage resource exceptions. Anyway, I will look into that, why it is coming actually. Okay, then work schedule assignment administration. So this is the place where you associate your work schedule to the corresponding population. So what is our work schedule? This is our work schedule. Open that. Okay, here you can say this work schedule is applicable to which group of people. You can say from which date onwards this work schedule is applicable. So I will say, for example, this year starting with only this year, for example. Only this year I will give work schedule. Then what is the resource? You can associate it to each individual employee, or you can say the people who are working in this legal employer. We can give here company basically here. You can give company name here. Or you can go by the location, position, job, enterprise, department. It's up to you. How do you want? If I select enterprise, it's going to be all legal entities which are created under this in this instance. Or if it is a specific legal employer, people who are all working in this company, they are all part of this work schedule. Then you have to set it as primary. Yes. Here also you can exclude exceptions. So I'm saying I wanted to exclude public holidays. What is this exception here? Exception is nothing but, you see, if you are, let's say August 15th is holiday in India, let's assume that, which falls on Wednesday. So now when I am applying my leave from Monday to Friday, system should exclude 15th and it should calculate the duration only 4 days. Monday to Friday, if it is 5 days, so when I am applying leave from Monday to Friday, system automatically should find that, okay, 15th is a public holiday, I should exclude that. Only Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days the person is applying leave. So you have to exclude exceptions. Public holiday. Say submit. Okay, if you are hiring any employee in this organization, so they will fall under this work schedule. So any questions? Tomorrow we are going to see the geographic trees, calendar events, and then we will see about these things. Maybe it will take another one more day for these concepts. Then this will take a complete class. This will take a complete class. These two are the major pillars for your access management. So any questions?
Yeah, Srinivas, I have one pattern, like second and fourth Saturdays off and all Sundays are off. So how can we do that in shift pattern?
Tell me, this is a month. Second and fourth Saturday are off.
And all Sundays are off.
Second and fourth Saturdays are off and all Sundays are off. So it's a weekly, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, you take not second, 15 days. You take the work schedule as a few. Let me show you that. Work schedule pattern. Time or elapsed doesn't mean, just basically we are going with. So it says, I'm just giving a name. So now here you have to give here 15 days. 14 days. Okay. So here we are going to give 14 days, 1 to 14. So what I will do here, one is always Monday. We will when we are going to work schedule there, we will give one is Monday. That's fine. Now here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 to 5. No, first Saturday, right? 1 to 6. Yes, 1 to 6 is what you select the corresponding shift here. 7 is obviously working. It will take as a public holiday. Then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Only up to 8 to 12 you attach whatever shift that you want. Meaning 13, 14 is week off. So what will happen here? System say 1 to 6 is working. 7 is a holiday. 8 to 12 is working. 13, 14 holiday. But make sure that when you are attaching this one in your work schedule, when you are creating your work schedule, it should fall one as you have to select one, and that should fall on Monday. So what will happen? It will take every 14, repeatingly 14 days from that date. 14 days, 14 days, 14 days, it will go accordingly. This is a holiday, obviously. Not holiday. This is a holiday. This falls holiday. Week offs anyway, Sunday anyway we are excluding. So that will be a holiday, forget it. But here, first week, it is a holiday. Sorry, it is working, it's holiday. Working, holiday. Working, holiday. It goes like that. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, Srinivas, and one more thing. Break period, how we can add?
Yes, we are trying. We are working with Oracle on that. We wanted to exclude maybe 1 hour in the lunch period and all, but unfortunately, we are unable to do in the access management. That is possible in your time and labor. There we are able to exclude, but in absence we are unable to exclude. We tried many times. We have raised a concern with the Oracle also on that. Still, we are waiting for that.
Okay.
Because when I go to shifts, here, so here we can exclude in maybe someone has created 1 hour as a half period duration. So period type is half period they have selected. 1 hour. Then maybe somewhere you can attach in between that, but we never we had a lot of issues when we are creating that. So we are still working with Oracle on this. Okay. So it's a flexible, they said flexible, 9 hours working, but we try to give this thing here, but unfortunately it is not working as expected. We can give here, but it is not working. I tried, in fact, we raised SR in my previous project. We raised SR for that. We selected here flexible. Then this has to work accordingly. This has to be properly work. You have to say here start time. Start time is like what? 7, right? 7. Duration, maybe I will work first. How many hours? 7 to, here say 7 to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 8 hours. So let's say 1 hour lunch period. For example, we want to exclude lunch period. Let's say 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's say 11 is my lunch hour. So I will say here 4 hours. So meaning 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11 o'clock lunch period. So here I'll say 4 hours. This is a core work. Yes. Flexible shift start meal time. We'll say here 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11. 1 hour. This is a non-this. Yeah, we tried to create like this, but it was not working as expected. This is how it's supposed to work. End time of last shift detail must be equal. What is this? End time of last. Okay, fine. This is a meal time, right? Sorry. This is again 3 hours. Sorry, 3 hours. This is again 4. Yeah, we try to create like this. But when actually we are applying leave or we are looking at that, it is not showing up like this. This is the actual way to create. See, okay. See here, it's a, you can select not 8 hours, you say 9 hours shift. Under 9 hour shift, okay, this time 4 hours is working and 1 hour is lunch. Again, another 4 hours you are working. Like, you can keep it like that. So that this is your meal time, or yeah, this is your meal time. Okay. So we created like this, but unfortunately it is not working. I'll let you know if anything brings by Oracle now. Anyone? Any questions? Everything is clear for all of you?
Srinivas, in our these absence management sessions, you are going to cover these validations, leave combinations, and holiday list configurations, right?
What leave? What is holiday list count?
The holidays configuration for location wise.
Yeah. And we may not create location wise. We may create country wise. Same thing applies for location wise.
Okay, and mapping everything. And
Yes,
how
yes.
to do the
That is
mapping.
what we are going to see in the geographic trees and calendar events.
Okay.
Calendar events are nothing but your public holidays, your holiday calendar.
Okay.
So that holiday calendar, when you are creating holiday calendar, you are going to link using geographic trees. You are linking to specific country or location, whatever location that you want.
Okay. And leave validations also you are going to cover, right?
What kind of leave validations?
Like maternity leave, it should not allow more than 2 times for entire employment.
See, that one is covering under this plans and types.
Okay. And combinations, leave combinations,
What is combination here?
like CL is applied today and next day we should not, it should not allow any other leave types like.
So that one you can, but that one is not handled in a standard functionality. You have to write a formula for that. So we will generally ask technical people to write a formula.
Okay.
There is no standard way to restrict your absence combinations, validations. So if that is requirement, suppose you cannot mix with 2 different leaves, then you write a formula, validation formula. So that requirement will be given to technical guys. So they will write a formula and they will give it to you. We will attach that formula in our absence type. That we are going to see in this.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, there are certain things, standard functionalities. There are certain things which can be done using some small changes, but definitely there are a lot of things which can be done using fast formulas. So fast formulas are very, very important in absence management. I will cover only the formula concept and all, but I think Ravi, we have a full 10-hour session for fast formula. Maybe Ravi is going to enable that sessions for you. You can have those sessions. I mean, they are already there. He just have to enable those formula sessions. That also I have given those sessions. Okay. So he will enable it. You don't worry. He will enable those sessions for all of you. Any questions? Okay. If you're not having any questions, we can close for today, and then we can catch up tomorrow. Okay. See you.